Happy New Year to you, Rachel. I can't believe it's 2022. Can you?
It is 2022. It seemed like just yesterday we were on here talking about economic development.
That's right. And I'm gonna tell you my age. I mean, I can remember very good when we had the millennial 2000. That was a big deal. And
Well,
22
part of
years
that because
later,
we thought the
right?
world was going to end when it hit
Yeah,
2000. We didn't know how that was going to work. That was
that's
that was
right.
the other part with that. That was the
We
catch
had a
with it.
couple. We had a couple of those. 2000, 2012. I think was supposed to be a pretty bad year, and so we've had a couple of those. I'm not sure what 2022 is, but I hope it's the year of the end of the COVID.
Well,
Uh,
I will tell you, 2022 is the year of royalty and the year of the poodle, if you didn't know.
I
This
did
year,
not
my
know.
sorority celebrates its centennial, its 100th
Wow.
celebration and birthday. So, quite
Wow.
a few things happening this year. So, when people ask me what is 2022, I tell them it's the year of royalty and the year of the poodle, which is our mascot. So,
There you
that's
go.
what 2022 is for us and for me. But I will say, I'm excited about the lineup for tonight. So I
Hmm.
know for a lot of people, if you had not seen it, tonight we have the Rolesville High School football program, and we also have Thorn to Rose Foundation that will be joining us tonight. And they will be talking about and telling us a little bit about not only themselves, but also about, especially for the Thorn to Rose, about the actual nonprofit itself, because it is a new nonprofit. For those that are not familiar with it, that was actually founded last year. So excited about that and excited to talk to Terry and talk to Coach Samick about Roseville and a couple of other things too.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night. I think we got a lot of topics we can talk about a little bit, and um, nothing can get more exciting than football at times. So this is the team had a great season in 2021, I guess you would call it,
Yes.
and 2022. I was going to find out from the coach what he expects from that, and um, I hope it be even more exciting. So.
And I think we are looking forward and looking ahead to some great things. I will say one thing for sure is the football program definitely has a name now, and that's a good name. And also excited to see a lot of our players getting the attention that we know they deserve. So a lot of those players are definitely going D1, and we love D1. But I just want to say for anyone who's listening, a parent, there's nothing wrong with D2 or D3, especially if you're getting your education paid for. So I'll throw that out there too. But I also
Yeah.
saw that Byram, our quarterback, started. He actually left and started school. So I'm excited about that. He graduated early. And, for me, I will say one thing there because Byram participated in our Youth Leadership Roseville program. And that just kind of speaks volumes to the quality of the athletes and the students that we have at Roseville High School. So,
Yeah.
from a community leader perspective, having the opportunity to get to know the students and know what caliber we have, not only on the field and on the court, but in the classroom and in the community,
That's
is amazing. So,
that's right. And
a
not only
lot of
is he a
people
great,
don't know that side of it.
yeah, not only he's a great football player, which he is. Maybe Rose is a pretty young school and maybe the best one that's gone through there yet for sure. But he's from a great family. I know you know Drew and
Yes.
all those people, and he's. I hope to get him on the show later in the year after mid year. He does a lot of work with the boosters with the
Yeah.
school and stuff, and so he's just from a great family, and it's great to have those type of kids in the neighborhood, and I hope they come back. Hope they be very successful, and come back to our community at some point in time.
And I hope so too. I mean, we also had Derek who graduated and he went on to Shaw University. And so I know my he had the opportunity to actually see him play
Hmm.
quite a few games this past year. So that's exciting for us too. And then there are a couple of other players too. I won't name them all, but we won't put coach on the spot to name them all. I can see him backstage just waiting to be able to tell us a little bit about the program. But I know for coach, for what he's done for the program and for the community itself is something we're definitely proud of. So some good things ahead. I will definitely say that for football, Mayor. And you let me know. I can go ahead and pull them in. And
Yeah, let's pull them in, and because I know I'm anxious to start talking to him a little bit. There he is.
Hey guys, how you doing?
How you tonight?
So far, so good.
So far, so good. What does a coach do at this time of year?
Worry about next year. No, much to my wife's chagrin. No, you try to decompress. You got to give your coaches some time off because, like you talked about, we had a weird season where we finished the state championship in May. We started back up in August and went into December. So our coaches are tired. A lot of our players are tired. We kind of gave them a couple of weeks off to kind of be with family, enjoy Christmas and winter holidays. And we're going to start lifting, get back at it next Wednesday, or this coming Wednesday, I should say. So at this time, this is where you kind of catch your breath a little bit. So
gotcha.
That's what football coaches are doing right now, and kind of in the back of their mind planning for next year. But you got to take a little bit of time off, or you'll go crazy.
Gotcha. Well, Coach, I know we know some basics, some things that we knew you coming in. Some of the main things, like you were head coach at Parkland, which is in Winston-Salem, for about 6 years and all. But tell us the deep, dark, secret bio of Coach Martin.
Well, I've coached in 2 states. I guess I coached in Pennsylvania and then moved down here in 1998. And what we were talking about earlier, there's nothing wrong with Division II or Division III. I was not a Division I football player. I was a Division II football player. And I actually went to the United States Coast Guard before I went into college. I actually used the GI Bill to pay for my education. And then, coached a couple of years in Pennsylvania after I was done going to school. Moved down here in 98, was in North Gaston, right there in Gastonia. And then I was at St. Stephen's and Hickory for a little while. And then I did a big stint at some high schools in Winston-Salem before moving out here. But I'm a traveled coach, because sometimes when you're trying to move up in jobs, you kind of have to move where the jobs are. And sometimes that was out of the county that I was living, or out of the area that I was living. And at Parkland, I was there for 6 years, and I think we did a pretty good job there. And it's kind of funny, friends of mine that are in the know, when the Rolesville job opened up, were like, you need to apply for this job. I think you can win there. And I was like, well, it's kind of a new school. I don't know anything about Wake County, so on and so forth. But the more I did research on it, the more that person that told me was right about this job. And it's a very, we've done some really good things in a short time. Like you said earlier, great kids, great families. We have talent, we have numbers, we have interest, we have good support from the administration. So I guess that's leads us up to where we're at right now.
Yeah, I know. I know you mentioned about Rolesville, and the first time I've heard your bio really in that much detail, I kind of always thought you was from that Piedmont, Western area, Charlotte, Winston-Salem, one of those coaches over there. And
that's where I've done most of my coaching, and that's what I'm more familiar with. A funny story, when I first moved here, was like, well, we're going to play Fike. I'm like, where's that? Well, it's I was like, I wasn't very unfamiliar with some of the schools out here, but I've learned pretty quickly who's who.
Yeah. So I was one of the questions I'll ask you. Had you ever heard of Rolesville before the coach's job came up?
Well, again, before the split, Wake Forest, Rolesville, yes. And I didn't know that there was a split. It's kind of, Wake Forest was continuing to have their success, and then you heard of this Rolesville High School, and it was kind of new, but you didn't hear much about it. And I didn't know that there was a split until 2 or 3 years before I interviewed for the job. I was like, oh, well, they must have split off. Wake County's growing. It must have been one of those areas that's growing, and they built their own high school. And so, because I think the school opened in 2013. So 2013, 2014, 2015, I didn't know that there was a Rolesville High School.
That's right. I think 2013 and 14, it may have been the football team was just a sophomore team or something. 1 year was a
I think it was just
they didn't have a senior on the team at one time. So
that's right. I think
they didn't do too well then.
No, I think they just had a JV team that first year. But I think we're coming up on our 10th year anniversary. If the school opened in 2013,
That sounds about right.
next year will be year 10, right?
Sounds
That sounds
right.
about that's close. So,
So, Coach, you've been 3 years here now, and I kind of looked it up. I think your record in the 3 years is 10-3, 9-1, and 9-6 this past season. And in the past 2 seasons, you went to the state one year and the conference championship one year. Did you expect to do that, or how do you rate the first 3 years you've had at Rolesville so far?
I think the first 3 years I think we kind of came in and set what we wanted to do. We wanted to make a competitive football team. I think we've done that. I think we wanted to create interest, and we've done that. I think we put a product out that I think the school and the community can be proud of. I think we do things with class. I think if we win, we win with class. If we lose, we lose. We try to lose with class. I think that with the coaches and what we've done there, I think that the first 3 years, if I were to grade it, I would grade it. So far it's been successful.
Yeah, I think for sure, you have to do that, and a lot of it may have to contribute to some of the great players you have, and we mentioned Byron Brown.
Yeah.
I guess he played the whole first 3 years that you coached.
Yes, he did.
I think.
Yes, he did.
And I kind of looked it up today, and he had, over those period of time, he had won like 15, 17, best player of the week award for the team. So he was kind of dominating there. So how would you rate him? And it's a couple more players at Rolesville, from your coaching experience and the coach and the players you coached before. Would you say that they are kind of right up there with some of the best you've seen or actually had hands on?
Yes. Well, as far as a quarterback goes, he's the best high school quarterback that I've ever been a part of, and I've coached since 1995. So he's the best quarterback I've ever seen at a high school level. And if you've been to any of our games, it's kind of like he wills things to happen. Like his just sheer will, and he's talented and he's intelligent, but his sheer will just makes things happen. And, it's like when I first got here, we had, the year we went 10-3, we had Josh Pullen, who's at Central right now. We had Jonathan Adorno, who's at Carolina at Chapel Hill. And those are the two best players that Rolesville ever had, at least what I was told. And then that next year came through, you had Ethan Harris and Caden O'Brien and those kids come through, which are some of the best players that we ever had. Well, then Byron Brown comes through this year with Antonio Krim and those type of kids, Josiah Henderson, and you're like, well, those are some of the best kids we ever had. So right. It's just like every year, and now this year coming up, we may have a new contender as the best player that's ever played in Rolesville. But up to this point, Byron Brown is, I think, the best player to come out of Rolesville. And there's nothing, for people who are in second place, they're a very good second place because they've done a lot for this program and have been successful where they've gone. But Byron's a special kid, and there's a lot of really good football players and great kids on our team.
Great. I got a question and actually this question is from the parent of one of your former players. And the question he wanted to know is, we know that the star quarterback has already graduated and I believe is in South Florida right now.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us about who and how you're going to fill those shoes?
You don't. I mean, you just don't. I mean, but we do have a quarterback in the system, and I do believe we have one that's coming into the system from the middle school that in a couple of years very well may be talked about like Byron Brown is being talked about. So we're real excited. It's kind of like, oh my goodness, we just lost our best quarterback, our Division I quarterback, and then we look what we have and what we have coming, and we're pretty confident that we're not going to have much of a drop off, if any. And that's funny to say because what Byron Brown has done, but we have somebody in the program that we feel very, very, very confident in, and we're very high on.
Good. And I know you got a junior that's coming back next year, a receiver, Norman Rogers.
Yep.
I think is I believe it was all conference or all state or something.
Yes, both.
Both all conference, all state.
Yes.
As a receiver, numbers are pretty high compared to average across even the nation.
Yes.
And I guess if you got a quarterback and just get the ball to him,
yes.
You'll probably be okay. So how do you see him going to, every year you need somebody to pick up the team. Is he one of them that's going to pick up the team, you think, coming into
yes
next year?
he by multiple recruiting services, Noah Rogers is the #1 recruit in the state of North Carolina. I was looking at one service today. He's the 64th best prospect in the country. He's the best receiver I've ever seen, and I've seen several. We had a kid, Ethan Harris, go out to the Air Force Academy when I was at Park. We had a kid, Kendall Dean, who went to James Madison, and Ryan Taylor when I was in Mount Tabor, who played in the NFL. Noah Rogers is better than, and I would say he's better than any of them, and then that's not a slight to those other players. He's just phenomenal. If you've had a chance to watch our football games, some of the stuff that kid can do, you just shake your head. If it's returning punts, if it's making a catch downfield, if it's blocking, it's just amazing to watch him play. And kids are gonna pick up their game because there's going to be colleges coming to watch. Well, he has multiple offers, but there's going to be other colleges watching him. I think our kids realize, well, maybe I'll get noticed as well. And that's a good thing for our program and for our kid. In fact, Noah Rogers just multiple offers, but yesterday he just picked up an offer from Clemson and Ohio State.
Oh, wow.
So I think the Alabamas and Georgias will be the next to fall. And like he's on everybody's wish list. So he's that kind of special player. And anybody's listening, you need to come out and watch this because he's a future star in college and maybe beyond. So it'd be nice to take a look at him while he's still in high school.
Definitely. He makes some great catches at times. He sure do. So unbelievable.
It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Yes,
unbelievable. Yeah. I know, change gears a little bit, Coach. I know head coaching is, has a lot to do with winning games and, the numbers and that kind of thing. But you've had some kids that you have talked or brought up that now it's taking it to the next level. Like you're talking about maybe Nolan, this year will, his senior year and then Byron this past year. How is it important to you personally when you see your kids go to the next level?
Well, it's great to see that, the hard work that they put in. And it's going to be interesting because we already have some kids that are doing that, to watch them on TV. You get to turn on TV and watch a kid that you coached. And Byron's going to be no exception. And some of the other kids that we've had coming up are going to be in that same boat. But to see them go to that next level is great. But we also, it's easy to follow the Byron Browns and the Noah Rogers. But we actually try to follow some of the kids that don't go to any level. The kids that just graduate high school, maybe go into the military or, go to Wake Tech or go to, they get a job out of high school. We try to keep up with them as much as we do the kids that are at your big time schools and are going to be on TV. So we keep up with them as well. And I think our coaching staff does a great job. And, hey, you helped us. We're going to make sure we keep, how are you doing? What can we do for you? Things are going great. And we still text kids that aren't even playing football. Like, hey, how's it going? How are classes? Or, how's your job? Stuff like that. But to follow the kids that are that are on TV, that's pretty easy. That's pretty easy.
Yeah. Yeah. I would think it's fun to watch them.
Oh,
especially when you see them do things that you told them to do that. And you taught them to do that, and now it's paying off for them type stuff. So
yeah, it's the last high school athletics is the last pure sports, I think.
Right.
That's what money hasn't corrupted high school sports like it has college sports and pro sports. So
right. This is another question, and this last one I have from a person that knows you pretty well. I'll say, He asked, what aspects of the game gets you most excited, and which ones make you most anxious?
Most excited and most anxious. Special teams. Okay, because I have an offensive coordinator who does a great job. I have a defensive coordinator who does a great job. As a head coach, I'm in charge of special teams. So that makes me the most anxious, and it makes me the most excited because a lot of things can change on special teams, a punt return, a kickoff return. Right. But then on the flip side of that, the other team can have a great kickoff return or punt return, or you can miss a field goal. When we beat Wake Forest to go to the state championship, it came down to special teams. They missed the field goal to win it, to go into overtime, and we kicked the field goal. Devin Verstegen kicked the field goal to seal the deal so we could go to the state championship. So I would say it would be special teams, and that's one thing that, you can always get better in, and people don't think about it. It's like the hidden yardage, the hidden points, but it's special teams because I feel really confident in what our offense and defensive coordinators are doing. But when it comes to special teams, I'm like, oh, here we go. Let's see what we got. Let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah, you use the things you don't use a lot, but when they come to the time you need them, they cost a lot. And I think your last play of the year was trying to do an offside kick against Cardinal Gibbons, which it was an offside kick.
It sure was.
It just didn't go downfield.
And the thing is, we've executed that play. When we played Millbrook the first time, we executed an onside kick perfectly in practice. Perfectly. It's just one of those things like you hit the ball a little bit too far to the left or to the right, or too high or too low, and you don't get the desired result. And I think that kicker was a junior. He's coming back, so he'll learn from that and he'll get better. But you're exactly right. Special teams and how that can swing a game.
Yeah. Yeah. In December, after that Cardinal Gibbon game, in the December Wake Weekly paper, there's a couple things in there, and you, Coach, you used the P word a couple times, and one of your statements were, we're going to learn from the game as the program. So you use that program word, which, a lot of teams, they just look seasons to season and try to win as many games that season as they can. But you're thinking more of a program. You're building a program rather than a winning season. Is that what you're trying to do there?
Yeah. Yes. And we try to win during that year, of course. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to install that program mentality. If you look sometimes on our sideline, there's alumni down there. And there's alumni when we first got there, or even before we got there, that have given to Rolesville football. And we've at least since we've been here, the alumni, we've installed an expectation in those alumni. Now, those alumni hold those players to that. Not only do we hold them to that expectation, the alumni hold those players to that expectation. Because they're like, look, when we were here, we did this. We won 10 games. We went to the state championship. We went to the regional finals. This is the standard that's been set. So what we're trying to do as a program sense is to install that sense of winning and expectation. And it takes more than 3 years. We're a fledgling program. We're very young. And, maybe by the time I retire, we'll be about where we need to be as far as a program, because it takes years to build a program. But it takes years to build a winning tradition and an expectation of what, or a standard. And that's what we're trying to build. And it is the program. And, we're learning as a program. We're learning how to, win big games. First we learned how to get into big games. Then we learned how to win big games and on big stages. And that's part of the whole program mentality. And 10 years or whatever, when I'm retired and whoever takes over for me, I hope they take that torch and run with it. And the alumni keep coming back and go to those young kids and like, hey, look, this is what you need to do, because this is what was established way back when. And if you look at your programs in history, like your Alabamas, your Pittsburgh Steelers, your Dallas Cowboys, your those type of things, they've established that type of reputation of like, this is who we are. And that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. And I guess there's many ways to do that. Like you kind of described. And I think the last paragraph of the actual newspaper article said that guys like Byron and Henderson and Bible were huge in how they helped to build the program. So you're building it from the players from year to year, and get better and all. But like this past season, the regular season, I'm pretty sure didn't go exactly in wins the way you wanted to go, but you had a fantastic run of really travel games in the playoffs, and one right after other. I think four in a row there.
Yes, sir.
But I noticed you could schedule a little easier, off conference schedule, but it looks like you schedule tough games and you're not worried about losing them.
No, and as long as I'm there, we're going to do that. I'm already talking to we have 2022 season coming up. I'm already talking to coaches for 2023 in Charlotte and Greensboro and Winston to schedule a game, because I think what that does, I think if you play and you just can't load up with Kansas City Chiefs every week. You got to be able to play. You got to have somebody that you might be favored to win. But yeah, I think it's good for our kids because it does get them ready. And here the thing is, our conference is very competitive. Millbrook's very good. Wake Forest is very good. Heritage is very good. Nightdale had a great year this year. Wakefield's, they went to the playoffs as well. Everybody in our conference went to the playoffs this year. They made the playoffs. And I think when you play good teams, especially early, you find out a lot about yourself, where you're at, what you might need to do to get where the better teams than you are at. And I think our kids, they want that competition. I think we're at that stage where, they just don't want to go out and win 70-0. That's not fun for anybody. That doesn't make you any better. It doesn't make your team better. It doesn't make the team you're beating 70-0 any better. It makes you better when you play quality opponents. And if you beat a quality opponent, or even if you lose a quality opponent, you can learn something from that and get better from it. And that's kind of where we're at. And look, don't be shocked if Charlotte teams come up here, or we go to Charlotte, or some Greensboro teams, because we already have East Forsyth coming out here next year. We already are playing a team from Winston-Salem. That's going to continue, and I've got to go ahead from my athletic director, and if the budget would allow it, I'd go to South Carolina or Virginia and play a powerhouse there, and that may be down the road. But I think it's good for the program and our kids to face that kind of talent.
I think Wake County kind of limits that a little bit. I don't see a lot of Wake County teams, spending a lot of money. But good, I see where he's coming from that, and I hope you really can make that happen. I would love to see that. I would love to see Rolesville become more than just a regional state name, but is known throughout. So that's really good. I see Rachel's coming back, and she's going to cut us short here in a minute.
Okay.
I do have a couple wrap-up questions about the community and stuff. And one, I kind of read somewhere, and I don't know if you quoted this or somebody made the quote up about you, and it's not true or not. But it's been implied that Grimsley is your dream job. I see you shaking your head there.
No.
Is Rolesville a place that you have any plans to use a stepping stone, or you feel like you can create something special here?
No, and I mean this when I took the job, and I had my first. And Grimsley, I think that's my offensive coordinator's dream job, Richard Shuping. That's not because his dad was a head coach there, and he played there his freshman and sophomore year. No, I was actually the head coach for Grimsley for a year, and that's okay. The guy that's there is doing a great job, and he can keep it. He's fine. But when I talked to the parents my first year there, this is the last head coaching job in the state of North Carolina I'm going to have. This is it. And I have 24 and a half years in, and if you know anything about education, it takes 30 years to become before you're eligible to retire. So I still have some years left. So I don't think Rolesville's a stepping stone job anymore. I think it's turned into a destination job. I think eventually when I leave, I think you're going to have a lot of interest from some very qualified and quality coaches that are going to apply for this job and try to, keep and capitalize on what's been built here, as well they should. But this is a destination job. It's not a stepping stone job. It's not a new school. It's not a place where you have to build. It's being built. And it's definitely a destination job at this point.
Well, that's great to hear. And, I hope the community can help with that. And that's some of the final question I was going to talk about to you about, how important is community support? And, I've been to some of the games and, it looks like the stadium is pretty full. And I've been to some of the away games and looks like, you got a pretty good following there. How do you compare or what's your comments on the community support so far?
Well, I think if you look at our games, I think, like you said, I think our stadium is full. People want to come. Rolesville is kind of an interesting school. It has an inner city enrollment with a small town setup and feel. Okay. So it's like, if you look at our enrollment, we're a big school, 2,500 kids. We're a very diverse population. It's like we're in right downtown Raleigh, if you look at the school. But we're not. We're in Rolesville, which is kind of a community, smaller town feel. And, it's kind of has that it has the best of both worlds. But as far as like people coming out, people have reached out, it's been great. And I grew up in a small coal mining town where everybody came to the football games. When I look up there, if I have a second, whenever special teams is over and I'm done being stressed out and I get a chance to look up into the stands, it's great to see all those fans up there rooting for our football team.
Anything the community can do better, Coach?
Better? Well, I think that our principal and AD has been in contact with the community as far as a partnership. Like anywhere else, we have needs. Our athletic program has needs. Our football, and I'm just going to go athletic program. I mean, I'm ambassador for football, but it isn't just about football. It's about basketball. It's about track. It's about softball. We have needs, and there's some things that, as Wake County kind of leaves up to the school to furbish in or update or add or whatever. As time goes on, and it looks like Rolesville's changing in that kind of manner where there's more coming into the community. It seems like it's a growing community. I'm hoping that continues, that partnership continues, and some of those shortfalls we have, maybe we can bridge that gap a little bit, and that would be huge for our athletic program and our school.
I hope we can do that. I really do. I noticed you don't even have a countdown clock or a snap clock or something that the schools have. And, it's sort of basic, but, you would think with a good passing team you would want that or something,
Yeah. But, and it's just like, I think you included, Mayor, I think everybody in the community would want the best of everything. And it's just going to take a little bit of time to kind of get that funding and kind of that movement that way. And it's starting, but you're right. But that's how Wake County operates, not how Rolesville operates, but that's how Wake County operates. And we're going to have to figure out that partnership and move on that way.
Gotcha. Any other questions from the people tuning in, Rachel?
We do have some questions, but I also want to make sure I tell Coach to stick around at the end. We'll bring you back on once we get done with this segment. But I do know we had some comments also. Just want to show those. So, of course, proud of what Coach Samick does to train our young persons to be good people and young men. That's always key for me in what I do. And also Commissioner Mayor Pro Tem Vilga, also great program, great coach, and thanks for all that you do. So I did have a question over here, and some of them you've kind of answered. One of them is, what do you want to leave as your legacy at Rolesville High School? Coming into a program, and it ties into another question, which was, what was the key to changing the program's culture? So those two kind of go hand in hand, I guess you could say, but a big one as far as, what do you want to leave as your legacy? I know sometimes that can be a tough question.
I think when I leave, I hope that people remember, like, he helped kids, and not just football players. He was a good influence in the community, and he was a good influence on our students at Rolesville. And if I get that, I'll be okay. And the second part of your question is, what kind of transformed our program and then that kind of stuff, I believe, is the second part of that question.
The key to changing the culture.
Change the culture. I think the parents bought into what we were trying to do. I have great coaches that help are in contact with parents and kids and the administration. Those three things right there is the reason why we're successful. If you take any one of those three away, we're not a successful fledgling program. I'll leave it like that.
Okay. Well, I tell you, Mayor, always have more questions available, but looking at the time, we do want to get our next guest on, stay on schedule. But Coach Simic, if you just stay on with us, we're going to bring you back at the end. And that way we can still, we can wrap up and talk about some more of those needs and some things of how the community can help. We constantly talk about that, but we want to make sure we keep saying it so that people know and understand. So we're going to go ahead and put you backstage. And Mayor, we're going to talk a little bit about our next guest that's coming up to kind of enlighten us a little bit, talk about the programs that we have going on as far as mental health. It's been quite challenging, I know, for quite a few in the pandemic. So I'm excited to bring our next guest on to talk about the foundation that was created last year. I know I was talking to someone today and we were talking about anxiety with their youth, particularly because there's been a lot, especially with the new variant. I know schools have been, Wake County's been working the best that it can to kind of stay updated on what to do, what not to do with the pandemic. And of course, we're coming off of holiday travel. So that's also something that kind of plays into a lot of what's happening. But our next guest is Thorn to Rose. Terry Simmons is the president and founder of Thorn to Rose, which is a 501c3 organization that is working to help us battle that challenge and basically to educate, culturally educate and break down the stigma of mental health in the Black and Brown communities. They're working to empower financial stability through entrepreneurship for children. I like to say children, young adults. They work with anything between the ages of 13 and 25, I think it is, of what they work with. So I'm excited about that. I have Terry Simmons on, Mayor. So I'm going to let you guys have a great discussion. Of course, I'll chime back in and ask a couple of questions at the end. But Terry, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome, Terry. I think your volume is a little bit low.
Okay.
Rachel, if you can adjust the volume a little bit.
I can hear you fine.
We'll go ahead and work through it, Terry. I know it's a little low on our end as far as being able to hear you. It's always the microphone sometimes. But if you just go ahead and keep talking, I have your contact information also scrolling at the bottom of the screen. So that way, Mayor, I'll bounce back in if needed to, and I can kind of help push through this one. Gotta love technology in 2022.
Okay, I know. Good enough. Well, welcome, Terry. I know you're one of the people I've been knowing for a long time. I don't know how long, but I know I've known you for a while. And welcome to the show. And I guess first question: Are you a football fan, Terry?
Unfortunately, I don't know a lot about football. I don't, but especially about it, Rolesville and the great things that the coach has brought, to the community. So I'm very excited, to hear about the good things about that. But unfortunately, I don't know a lot about football.
Yeah, Terry, I went in and adjusted your settings. You're really, really low. So what I'm going to do is have you bounce over to one of your other cameras, and the mayor and I will talk about Thorn to Rose as you get on one of those other cameras for us so that we can make sure that we hear more about the foundation and what it is that you have to offer. Now, Mayor, Terry and Thorn to Rose just had a phenomenal kickoff event. You and I both were there.
She certainly did. And it was a lot of people there, too, to be the first one, because this is a pretty new organization that she's starting here. And it was the first one. And I think it was October, maybe. I was going to get her to maybe tell us the date. I think it was October, early November. And it was just a great event. And it's a great organization, too. We got several great foundations in Rolesville that's doing, really good things for the community and, really raising money to help the needy type stuff and people that in need. So we got some great foundations, and this is one of them. This is one of the newer ones, and really excited to have them.
Now, Terry, I know for exactly when looking at this foundation, and you have an awesome board too that's backing you and helping to work to help end the stigma in the Black and Brown community as it relates to mental health. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you have coming up with the foundation?
Yeah, so again, as you mentioned, first of all, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're still low. You're still really low. Um,
Okay.
I know you have another device connected for us. If you can try, there's another device that's connected. I'm not sure if it's a computer or something that's in a room, but if you can try that device for us, your mic volume is all the way up on our end. So I know you can hear us fine, but we can't, you're very, very low.
One of the things
Apologize.
I know Terry is, can we hear? One of the things, Rachel, I know Terry is really excited about trying to do a fundraiser for, and I think in the May time frame. She knows the date, but I'm not exactly sure. I think it's in the May time frame. She wants to do a 5K, which we haven't done one of those in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people gets excited about that. So I think that's one of the things that she wants to do, and putting a lot of effort around there.
Yes, we are excited about the possibility of being able to do that. One of the things that I love about Thorn to Rose and the premise of creating it was that Terry's going to be working, for example, they're going to serve as a resource for our high schools, a resource for our middle schools, a resource for our elementary schools. She is working to partner with key organizations to be able to allow them. I mean, that's the whole premise of it, is to work with those young adults. And part of that is partnering with those schools. And she's already reached out and kind of worked to make those contacts and connections with the schools to make sure they understand that they are here. They are a foundation that is available to assist them as they're growing and working. So we're excited about that. They have put out quite a few things, and I'm going to go ahead and show Mayor their website.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
So that people can kind of see. This is the website. It is thorntorose.org. So if you're looking to get more information or wanting to know more about the foundation, this is the link of how you can reach it, and you can actually go in. And one of the things that they do on here is they have their website broken out by partners, broken up about upcoming events. And then also, if you are looking to sponsor or looking to donate to the cause, there's an option for that also that is listed on the website. And let me bring Terry back in to see if that mic is working, because I know she has a lot of good data to share. Hey, Terry.
Okay.
Nope, we hear nothing at all now from you.
Oh my goodness.
It's funny, Mayor, how this happens, because we do mic checks at the beginning of
she was
every
talking
segment, and we actually sit on and we talk and we check to make sure that volumes actually work. So
yeah,
we do understand that things happen in
She was
technology.
she was definitely good at the beginning. I think she had a lot of talking. The foundation does really good work, Rachel, in the, I guess, the premise that they're trying to work under, and the people they're trying to help. And I know a little bit about the mental health piece of it, but I've heard Terry talk about how passionate she is for that, and the need for that. It's a big need for that in our community, and to really, for her to take the take the reign and the lead of trying to put that together, and all the work around there. She's as people that don't know Terry, she's a CPA, which this time of year I was going to ask her a little bit about her her daytime job, which she runs Terry Simmons CPA firm here in Rolesville, and this time of year is a busy time in doing taxes and those type things. And I was going to talk a little bit about that, but in her spare time she does she has a lot of passion for this.
Terry, if you come off of mute, I think we actually can hear you now. Whenever
Hi guys, can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes,
We
you can
don't
hear
see
us?
you,
Great.
but we can hear you.
There
There
you
we
go.
go.
Take it to my daughter to help me with these challenges. So I do apologize.
No problem. Yeah, we were just talking about, the good work the organization does, the foundation does, Terry, and with the mental health, and maybe you can kind of give us your thoughts in the community, your thoughts of what the work they do.
And now for some reason you guys are really low, but
Absolutely love technology in 2022. Absolutely love technology in 2022.
especially in our communities, because it's a subject that we just don't talk about. And what we're trying to do is we want to normalize the need for mental health services, in our community. In addition to bringing awareness of mental health in Black and Brown communities, we also want to take and help educate the therapists culturally. Again, mental health is everywhere, but we want to make sure that the therapists are equipped to be able to deal with people with different diverse backgrounds. So what we try to do is we also provide grants, scholarship opportunities for therapists to apply for financial assistance to be able to provide to their clients. And it's through an application process, which we should have that up and running in sometime in May and June, where again, therapists can take and get a grant or a scholarship to again assist with their clients who are have a financial need. They may need to be able to continue on with their therapy. They may need different types of coping skills. They may need to go and exercise, need a membership to a gym. So anything to help put them in a position to continue with their positive coping skills. And so that is a resource that we provide through the therapists. We also provide resources for therapists to get continuing education. And again, our goal is for any therapist, doesn't have to, be African American or Hispanic. It can be any therapist to be able to culturally become educated in how to deal with the Black and Brown communities as it relates to mental health. So that's just a huge part of our organization, and also trying to partner with schools, so that teens can have a safe environment if they're having a breakdown in school. Rachel had mentioned earlier that we do deal with teenagers between the ages of 13 and 25. So again, getting and being part of the school is a huge piece of our program. I just recently back in December went to a to a training to become certified to be able to identify teens in crisis. And one of our goals is to hopefully bring that program here to Rolesville, where parents, people in the clergy community can come and get educated and again become certified to be able to identify, a teen that is in crisis. The goal is not to diagnose, but again to hopefully see the signs, be aware of the signs, and then hopefully be able to de-escalate the situation. So that is something I'm definitely wanting to bring here to Rolesville, where people, like I said, in the clergy, counselors, parents, definitely parents, to be able to attend and just get some additional training or some training and being able to identify their children or anyone of a teen that's in crisis. And this even open for teens to even, come, maybe being able to help identify their friends. So that's another program that, we would love to bring here to the Rolesville community.
Yeah, Terry, you mentioned that a lot of times it's people don't talk about it. It's kind of I was saying, a lot of people don't talk about it. It's kind of a hidden thing or secret thing, and that's a big overcome your group has to get through on it.
Mm-hmm. Again, we need to normalize the conversation. I mean, we know that it's not it's, how should I say this without, we want it to normalize the conversation, even though it may be considered to be normal. People need to be open, because that's how we get help. Um, if you're not talking about it, then you don't know where you can get help, why you should even get help. So it's so important. And like I said, the stigma that is surrounded, it's like a lot of people are ashamed of that, they're dealing with mental health, and people need to recognize that this is part of who they are. It doesn't make you a bad person. It's just part of who you are. We all have some type of element that we might be dealing with. Like I said, if you are have been diagnosed with cancer, I mean, you're going to go get help. You're going to get chemo, and we need to treat mental health in that same category. If you're dealing with something, anxiety, depression, bipolar, you need to be able to get help and be able to manage it. One of the things is we replenish your mental health. So it's so important. Like I said, to normalize the conversation. I know it's not normal, but we need to normalize and be comfortable in talking about it so we can get the help.
Right. And Terry, the foundation 501c and stuff, the big need for that is actually raising funds to support this group. And maybe talk a little bit. We mentioned the 5K, but maybe talk a little bit some of the things you got going on with raising funds.
Right. We are 501c3, and donations and funds that are come to our organization are tax deductible. And so, like you had mentioned, we are in the process of trying to do a 5K right here in Rolesville. We're scheduled to try to do something in May of this year, and of May of this year. And we have a fundraiser coming up in May, and not in May, but in February, for a popcorn fundraiser. We're going to try to do it around Valentine's Day. So again, this is just another way that people can take and, donate to the organization and, be a tax deduction write-off for them as well. Our event that you had mentioned that we had back in October, that is something that we will be doing. That's going to be an annual event for us, where we'll, have the community come together and learn more about the organization. It was a huge success for us, and we're looking forward to doing another one. So the big event that we're having this year was going to be the 5K. We plan to have, it's going to be where people can run and also walk. It's going to be a timed race, and we also plan to have vendors there if possible, and also do a sneaker drive. So those are some of the things that we're looking to do as part of the 5K dash.
Right. And Terry, you got quite a few people helping you with this, I think. So you want to mention some of the folks that's working with you in your group that's helping you with this?
So Dawn Powell, she's actually a native of Ohio, and she is a licensed therapist, and then she's a huge part of our organization. She's actually the vice president. We have Theodosia Bills, who is my mother. She is the secretary. And then we have Sherry Knight, who is our board member, is also in the field of mental health, and she is also on our board as well. And we're actually looking for new board members as well. So especially with the upcoming event, if people are interested in volunteering, they can actually go to our website and click on to contact us to help volunteer or even be a board member. So again, you can do that right at our website at thorntorose.org.
Great. Anything you want? Like we said earlier, you do the accounting business too, and this time of year, I was going to ask you a couple questions about that coming up. Any changes in the laws this year when it comes to filing your taxes? Do you still have to do it on the 15th and all that stuff?
Well, unfortunately, this is probably not going to be the best year for taxes. We've just had so many changes, and not only has COVID affected us, health wise, but financially wise, and unfortunately, our taxes as well. So, for the 2021 filing season, a lot of people have received some of the advanced tax credits for young children, and a lot of them at least from my perspective, a lot of people weren't entitled to it. So they're going to have to pay that back. So I do see a lot of people are going to have to owe this year due to the advance of that credit. And then, some of the things that they forgave as far as, people with unemployment, because we still had quite a few people still on unemployment for 2021. And last year on the 2020 taxes, they gave a waiver, up to $10,200. Well, that has gone away. So again, if you didn't have taxes coming out of your unemployment, that's all going to be taxable for you, this year. And then a lot of people who were getting, got on the marketplace for health insurance. Again, that was one of, if you had to pay it back because of where your income was at, maybe made too much and you received too much of that credit that the government gave you for health, that was waived. So you didn't have to pay that last year back if you received too much of that credit. Well, for, again, 2021, they're not waiving that. So I do unfortunately see a lot of people having to, owe this year. But the good news is if you're looking to, give to a charitable organization and you normally take and you itemize, or you take the standard deduction, you'll be able to take up to $600 in addition to your standard deduction. And that's something new. Last year they had $300 and they increased it to $600. If you meals and entertainment, they're now deductible 100% for businesses, and that was in the effort to try to help, restaurants, so those are a couple, good things, but unfortunately, I don't know if that offsets the things I said earlier today.
That's right.
So,
but also there is something around around charity giving. If you want to give some charity out of your 401k or something like that, you can get
yeah.
credit.
So, and I'm not sure if a lot of people know this. I know a lot of people, if they give and they're on, retirement or getting their 401k, what they can actually do is instead of, getting the money in the form of a distribution, they can actually take and get with their financial person and ask for the contribution to go directly to a nonprofit organization. And what that does is it's not treated as taxable income to you. Normally people would get their distribution and then give to the church or, to a nonprofit, charitable organization. But by taking and having your, distribution go directly to the nonprofit organization, then that's not considered to be taxable income for you. So that is a way to not have as much, taxable income, especially for people who don't need to take their required minimum distribution. So that would be a way that they could give, to a nonprofit organization without being having it be treated as taxable income.
So it's some good things and some bad things, right? Always some good and some bad, and so we've got a little bit of both this time. Terry, is it anything else before we leave? If you want to talk about the foundation, is anything else that you did not share with the public that you would like them to know about the foundation?
I just think that, again, I think it's just really important. I started this foundation because, of my own personal experiences in dealing, with a family member, suffering from bipolar. And I didn't want to, wait. You hear a lot of people that start foundations because of something that, dramatic that happened in their lives. A lot of people, as a result of someone, dying or committing suicide. And from my perspective, I feel very blessed and fortunate. And I wanted to do something now. I wanted to be in a position to be able to have that family member be able to talk about it while they're still here. So it was just very important for me not to wait. And just from my own personal experiences, I just felt that this was something that we definitely need to get out there. So just as I'm passionate about, my accounting and, I love what I do. This is something that I'm just as passionate about. And, I feel like what I'm doing when I'm doing taxes, I feel like it's part of my ministry. And this is just another level to that.
Certainly. Thank you for that. Really, Terry. Is there any questions or comments from the public, Rachel?
I feel like I need to bring Terry back on and do a segment on everything that for tax season. I will definitely say that I want to thank Terry for creating this foundation. And one of the questions that we have, Terry, kind of as you move forward with your foundation and things that you look to do, where do you see yourself with this foundation in 5 years?
Where do I see myself with the foundation?
Yes, in 5 years.
In 5 years, I plan to have our foundation be expanded. Right now, we're currently in Wake County, and I'd like to expand the foundation not just to North Carolina, but also to Ohio, where I'm originally from. So I want to be able to do the same, work that we're doing here in North Carolina, in Ohio as well. We are still in the process of getting with NOMNI and just being recognized as an organization that, people can come, go to as a resource when it comes to mental health.
Well, I definitely know that there are
Thank
great
you.
things in store for the foundation and the work that you're doing, Terry. So I thank you so much for joining us this evening. Even with technology challenges and all, we still make it happen. Mayor and I were prepared. Look, we still gonna make it happen. I'm gonna bring Coach Samick on to wrap up. It is, just so we can wrap up, Mayor, before you and I kind of proceed with the closeout. Definitely two great guests to have on the show. And I know one of the things that we don't necessarily think about or talk about is the mental aspect of an athlete. And we all know how these two segments, when people wonder how we bring two segments together, this is for the full scope of, definitely keeping our kids active and keeping them in programs, making sure that we have positive, inspiring people around them to help them grow and to help them mature. And then also making sure that we're not only taking care of them in the classroom and taking care of them, physically, but things like that, but also mentally, which is really huge right now in the world. So that's why when we look at this segment and how the mayor lined up his show, it definitely is something that goes hand in hand when you look at it. So, and I know Terry had to drop off again, but Coach Samick, I do want to say thank you again. Any last words before you hop off tonight?
No, thank you for having me. I enjoyed being here, and it was great listening to the other guests and some of the information that she gave. So thank you for having me, and it was time well spent. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess, Coach, Rachel and I, we fumbled the football a couple times in this second half here, and probably if you was a fan, you'd be giving us a hard time over that, I would think. But we'll watch the film in the morning. We'll watch the film and see what we can do better. But really, thank you for all you can do. And like I said, first time we met, I think I asked you, you needed to win at least those Wake Forest games, and you have more than proved it. I think you won two in 1 year. So you can't ask for that. So my new ask is, the Wake Forest mayor over there has 3 championship rings. I want you to get us one.
Well, we're working on that. That is definitely on our agenda.
Great. I would appreciate that.
And as we're getting those rings, we're going to make sure we bring Terry in to make sure our kids stay mentally healthy and strong as we're going into the competition.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
I do want to say, Mayor, one of the things when we talk about the mental aspects of it, I was in Colorado at the U.S. Training Olympic Facilities, and I was there for a meeting. And as I was going through the facilities in Colorado, I was able to go to the actual shooting portion, the shooting range portion of it. I got to visit quite a few. And as I'm talking to them and I'm looking at all of the equipment and things that they have, not only for shooting, but other things for our athletes to kind of make sure they're prepared for the Olympics. But when they showed me all of this stuff for the mental portion of shooting, they looked at me and they said, everything you do controls how you shoot. If their athlete is not mentally prepared, it can completely throw their shot off. And so the way they kind of assimilated it for me to other sports, and they said, think about it, for me, because I did play basketball, they said, think about if you're having a rough mental day or there's something going on personally that impacts you in everything from your shot to your release to your rotation and everything that you don't think about. So that's why I think it's just as important to have great human beings, as I like to say, as it is to have a great athlete. We need them to be good people also. So definitely, Terry, any last words before we wrap up?
No, I don't think so. Just
we're gonna bring you back for a tag segment, because a lot of the stuff you were saying, I'm over here trying to prepare myself for that, especially when you talk about all these credits and the changes and things like that that are going to impact our taxes this season, which I
think Terry's saying you do it early as possible so you know what's going on. Probably.
Yes.
Can you guys hear me now? Because I can hear you guys just fine.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes, we can.
Nope.
Yes, we
Yeah,
can.
I encourage you to get your taxes done as early as possible. That way, you know what you're facing, what you're dealing with. Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's a little scary.
Well, Rachel, I want to thank you, and I think we had two great guests on tonight. Really had fun doing it tonight. I think we've had a couple of the earlier shows with developers and stuff, and there's a lot of development going on in town. A lot of new things coming in, but there's more happening in town than new developments. As you can see tonight, is some great high school football and high school sports and things you can get involved in and support some of these needs that the community has with needs with mental health and those type things. So I believe I look back at the schedule for the next first 6 months of this year, Rachel, and I don't think we have a single developer in there in the mix. So we'll be talking about a lot of community things and kind of what's going on around Rolesville. And I'm very excited for this and what's coming up.
And speaking of what's coming up, of course, we have our new direct primary care facility is actually opening in Rolesville. Vicinity Health is having their ribbon cutting on Monday at 12 noon. So I definitely invite everyone to stop by if you're interested in primary care, if you're looking for that here in Rolesville. We finally have an office. It is located in Southtown Circle. It is over actually next to the police department. So if you're trying to figure out how to get there, that's the easiest way. Go next to the police department. She's located in that shopping center. So we will definitely be there, weather permitting, as I like to say. We will definitely be there. So for all of those who joined us online, who watched us, who will go back and watch the film, as we like to say, we definitely thank you. And to our guests, we always thank you. And Mayor, as always, thank you for doing a great job in leading our town. We look forward to seeing you guys next month. And if you have not seen, look for our advertisement on the billboard. We try to put it out every month so you know when the show is going on and who's going to be on it. So that way you'll have an idea of who our guest is for next month. We'll be back in February.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Have a good evening.